The US sees its first death from the coronavirus, but Donald Trump calls for calm and says everything possible is being done.
We've taken the most aggressive actions to confront the coronavirus. They are the most aggressive taken by any country.
Retired doctors and nurses could be asked to return to the NHS under the government's new plan to tackle coronavirus. Continuing the coronavirus story, it's talking about a war room being set up.
Yeah, and this almost goes back to what you were just talking about in a sense, is that the Prime Minister has been criticised in the last couple of weeks for being a little bit absent, not only when it comes to coronavirus, but also with things like the floods. And this is clearly an attempt by Number 10 to show that actually the steps that are necessary are being taken by government. And of course, there's a balancing act here, isn't there? Because on the one hand, you want to show that you're prepared. On the other hand, you do not want to start panic. No. So the government needs to deal with this. And it's having to rethink, I think, some aspects of its media strategy as well. Because, of course, famously, the government's been boycotting certain media outlets. And now there are signs that there's a bit of a rethink, because actually, in a crisis like this, you need to be able to communicate.
Public information, absolutely. And we were talking to the World Health Organization in the last half hour or so, and they were saying that actually many countries, Britain included, are taking all the right steps behind the scenes in order to be prepared.
Yeah, absolutely. But part of it is about reassurance, isn't it? I mean, you know, the Prime Minister isn't going to come up with the expert advice. He's got doctors and World Health experts to do that. But actually, sometimes it's a question of portraying an image of being calm and in control. And I think this story feeds into that we've created the infrastructure we need to deal with this. Now it's a question of getting the message out.
So much of it is relying on people listening, taking the advice, recognising the symptoms, self-isolating. And that can feel a bit risky for people, can't it?
Well, self-isolating, not panicking unduly, because, of course, I think we're going to talk about it in a sec, that's going to have economic repercussions. But also behind the scenes, this is a massive logistical challenge. Yeah. So, you know, hospitals will need to be thinking about whether they have the right numbers of respirators, whether there's enough oxygen. People need to be trying to predict how quickly this will spread and try and predict patient numbers. So, I mean, it's a massive task behind the scenes. And the Prime Minister needs to give that sense of being in control, but without, as I say, making it sound worse than it is.
Yeah.